We've got bloopers, we've got OVAs. Don't worry, it's all coming after we finish these last 2 episodes. Someone mentioned it over to me over on Patreon, so no need to spam the comments to watch those after I finish. We are going to get to them. But here we are, last 2 episodes. It is Ed versus Father. Don't know why everybody else isn't jumping in now that Father's seemingly able to take damage, but I'm excited to see how this all plays out. Hopefully Ed can get Al back as well, and then I kind of want like 10 episodes, honestly, of them just relaxing after they finish their journey, but looking forward to seeing how it'll all play out. If you guys want to watch the full reaction, or you want to catch next week's episode a week early, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, let's get started. Bang! The other side of the gateway.
I don't understand! How can this happen when I've absorbed God? How can a mere human, a meager alchemist, with his bare hands?
Oof. Not yet. The little runt. How you got a little runt? It's not over yet. There's no way. God is coming out. Whoa. Oh. Oh. Damn it.
Be a good son.
Oh, time to let go, time to let go.
You know, it's not quite as ideal as being king of the world, but I can make do with Emperor of Shing. Let's fight him together. Hey, partner. That's more like it. What are you?
Saving you.
It's time to say goodbye, kid.
You can't just sucker punch me like that! How could you lie? You always said you don't believe in telling lies!
That was the one and only lie of my life. Long Fawn has a Philosopher's Stone, so you don't even need me anymore, kid.
She does?
But I do.
Wait. But I do. But I do.
No, wait! Don't do this!
Later.
Greed, no! No, Greed!
How could you? Greed! I've reversed the ultimate shield you gave me.
Whoa.
Transformed your body into the most fragile carbon there is. You crafty devil!
Ah.
Be gone, fool! Return to nothing!
Greed.
I could do without that pitiful look right now, you pissant. I've had enough. Yeah, that's all I really need. They gave me everything I could want. Thank you. And goodbye, my friends.
Smash him to bits. Holy crap! Is it over?
That's it.
It's actually all over? Whoa.
Go back to nothing, homunculus!
Oh.
But why? I just wanted to understand this world's knowledge! I just wanted to be free! Free to know!
Free to know. He collapsed in on himself. And hi.
You were incapable of believing in yourself. You stole your power from others. You rejected your human origins.
I only wanted to obtain perfection. I wanted this world's knowledge for my own. Why should I be punished for that?
He has a
What's
fist.
wrong with craving knowledge? What's wrong with seeking perfection?
I'm the truth of your despair, the inescapable price of your boastfulness.
Humans who would dare to play God must pay a steep price for their arrogance. That is truth.
So does he? He must pay the price.
Please stop! I can't bear to be bound any longer! No! No! No!
This despair is reserved for the boastful.
Just tell me what I was supposed to do!
You brought this outcome upon yourself.
What'd I do wrong? What should I have done?
What happened? Is it over? Did we win?
Nobody told him? Nobody told him?
Alphonse hasn't returned from the other side.
I've got the toll for him. Take it. It's a philosopher's stone. Use it to bring him back.
Oh. Over his own country.
As much as I want to, I can't. There has to be a way to get him back. There's gotta be.
Give up your arm again.
Think it through.
Give up your arm again.
Thinking.
Edward.
His whole.
My life for the toll.
Yeah.
Use me to save Alphonse.
That's what I thought.
I've got just enough life left.
He won't do that either,
No
though.
way! I could never do that, you dumbass!
You
It doesn't
dumbass.
have anything to do with you! Why should you sacrifice your life for our mistake?
Because I'm his father.
Oh,
It's the only thing that matters. You don't know how much you boys mean to me, and I just want you to be happy. I'm sorry, Ed. I've lived long enough. Just give me this chance
he,
to act like a father for once in my life.
Shut up, you rotten father! You say something that dumb again, and I'll knock you out!
oh.
There's gotta be some way. There has to be.
Give up your arm and find another way. Keep traveling. That seems anticlimactic, though. Fingernails grown out. He figured it out? It's okay, I got it, I got it!
Something. Mr. Gorilla.
Mr. Gorilla.
Brig soldiers. Major.
Oh!
Fun.
This is my last transmutation. Stand back and enjoy
Last?
the show.
Last?
Stop it!
Elric! No Edward Elric!
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Whoa. I'm back!
I take it you're here to retrieve your brother?
Yeah, I've got your payment right here. This thing is my portal of truth. So I get to make the decision on how it's used. Is that right? I saw the truth that lies within it. I became convinced I could solve everything with alchemy. But I couldn't possibly have been more wrong. That was just arrogance.
You're willing to cast it aside, to lower yourself to a simple human?
What do you mean lower myself? That's the only thing I've ever been.
Oh.
Just a simple human that couldn't save a little girl. Not even with alchemy.
Edward Elric!
Wow. Equivalent
Who
exchange.
even needs alchemy when I've got them?
You've done it! That's the right answer! Go ahead! Take him home!
Wow.
The back door's right over there! Goodbye, Edward Elric!
Can he get his leg back too?
That was crazy, Al.
Speak for yourself.
Welcome back.
He's so frail.
Home at last.
Give me some pie!
So warm.
Give me some pie. Oh.
May.
I was so scared.
I bet. Sorry. It was wrong of me to put you through that. It's okay now. Thank you.
General Armstrong and Colonel Mustang have taken control of Central Command.
There's this thing.
Successfully halted the military coup d'etat perpetrated by the senior staff. The coup was centered around an alchemic procedure which would have sacrificed the nation's population.
Wow. How do you explain that to her?
Yet to be released.
Okay then, what is it that makes you happy?
Well, I'd hate to be guilty of asking too much, but I think I'd be happy if I could just leave this flask.
You were born of my blood, dwarf in the flask, homunculus.
I forgot about that.
In the end, you and I were still as one. And
Someone should mourn it.
Mr. Hohenheim, we are all in debt to the efforts of Edward and Alphonse. Without those boys' relentless
His mustache
courage,
is moving.
this nation would be no more. Thank you very much.
That's how he talks. His mouth doesn't move. It's just his mustache moving up and down. Sorry, I just ruined an emotional moment.
thank you.
Trisha.
Hello, Trisha. I'm home. So get this. Ed actually called me his father.
He did.
Although he did preface it with rotten. Living through all of these endless years, I always felt like I'd been struck with a curse. But then I found you, and we had our sons, and I suddenly felt blessed, grateful for the life I had. I've had a fulfilling life. Thank you, Trisha. Believe it or not, I actually want to keep on living. I guess I'm pretty hopeless. Aren't I, Trisha?
I didn't know you were back. Silly old fool. Well, at least you died with a smile on your face, my friend.
So, I guess this wasn't exactly the climax that I imagined it would be. Last week was the climax in terms of pure action and just badassery. Of course, this week we saw Father fall, but there was actually very little fighting left to do. And today's episode was mostly just emotional. It hit hard and hit really hard, and I loved it. Ed essentially saved the world and saved his brother too. It's sad that he doesn't have his leg back, so he didn't get his entire body back, but honestly for him, the journey was probably much more about Al all along. I'm an only child, so I don't know what it's like to have siblings, but if I was in his situation and I got my brother's whole damn body back, I'm more than satisfied. Plus I got my arm back, right? And I've got a top-notch mechanic, hopefully girlfriend, after I get back home. And she can tune me up whenever I need. That sounded dirtier than I meant it to. But yeah, what an ending for Greed. Father was nothing without a Philosopher's Stone, so he went and tried to yank one out of Greeling. And Ling had grown so fond of Greed, he was doing whatever he could to try to hold on to him, and not because he wanted to use the stone for his own end goals, because Greed told him straight up, Lanfan has a stone, which I guess she got from Wrath. I just completely forgot about that. Yeah, he was the last one to be holding on to it before that whole fight went on. But I didn't realize she picked it up until Greed said so. Anyway, Greed said Ling didn't need him anymore, but Ling said, but I do. And, I mean, he chose to let Greed into his body, but he didn't realize that he also let Greed into his heart. And yeah, Ed even ran over to Ling too, not wanting Greed to die. They had become bros, they had broed down, they had worked together all this time. And Ling was even willing to give up the stone later for the sake of Al. I don't know if it would have used all the entire stone, but he just wanted Greed to stay because Greed had actually had what he wanted all along. He had a chance to make friends. Granted, it's unconventional the way he did it, taking over Ling's body at his behest, of course, but he was willing to die alone so that his friend could live, and he lied to Ling to catch him off guard so he could sucker punch him. Apparently, that was the first time he ever lied. I don't know that we've been told that in the past, that he just isn't willing to tell a lie, but he was willing to break that code of conduct that he made for himself and told the very first lie of his lifetime in order to let Ling live, which is pretty great. Yeah, and he was able to change Father's body into this like crumbling version of carbon, able to help take down Father. And just as his Philosopher's Stone was being taken away from Ling, he was able to take him out. So yeah, it was kind of spectacular. A great way for him to go out if he had to indeed go out. But yeah, this episode also further delved into Father's motivations more, and I feel like I understand him a little bit more. And Hiromu Arakawa, she really knows how to write characters, doesn't she? Because evil characters, she still writes them with like very real emotions, very real motivations. I mentioned last time how I feel for the homunculi despite their actions, and this time, even though Father is practically the embodiment of powerless, it was still hard to watch him struggle, asking Truth what he was supposed to do, what did he do wrong, how did I disappoint you? And for the anime, it was a great choice to start the episode with him in a flask, the flashback reminding us of his horrid origins, asking Hohenheim, doesn't he want to be free? And yeah, we even flash back at some later point in the episode to him talking down to his humans about how they are attempting to reach God, and yet he's doing the same thing. That's exactly what he does. And he pays the same price that Ed, Al, and Azumi all have for trying to tap into the power of God as well. But yeah, it's so interesting how he dies, because he's been on this quest for power for I don't even know how long, hundreds of years. That's all he knew how to do. Hundreds of years ago, he wanted freedom from the flask, and he killed so many people to get it. But if Xerxes was the last time he had ever killed anybody, I think he could have had a life. He could have went on living, right? Because Hohenheim never went on after him, I don't think, until he could see the wheels turning. He could see Father trying to gain power. And it feels like he spent all his time after Xerxes killing and gaining power to make sure he'd never be trapped again. And in a twist of irony, that's him seeking power is what takes it all away from him. And at the end, facing down Ed, he goes after a stone to reignite his power when the very person he was fighting had sworn never to take a life. And I understand Hohenheim not even being able to be fully happy about Father's defeat, because Father was born from himself. He bonded with Father. Father gave him a chance at a better life by teaching him alchemy, by helping him to be freed from slavery. And if it wasn't for Father, Hohenheim would have never met Trisha, never would have had his 2 sons. And at the same time, obviously, all of Xerxes wouldn't have crumbled if Father wasn't around. So it was understandable that Hohenheim was conflicted there and wasn't like celebrating, yay, we won. He still felt bad for Father on some level. It flashbacked again to him in a flask, and he remembered, he felt Father's anguish when he said that he just wanted to be free to learn, free to know is the words he used. And yeah, it was kind of something to see him mourning Father in a way. And then Ed, this was one of the best parts of the episode, just thinking desperately to figure out a way to bring Al back, turning down a Philosopher's Stone from Ling, threatening to beat up his rotten father for offering his own life in the place of Al's. And the thing with Hohenheim is that he had such a short amount of time left. He was going to die anyway. He could have brought Al's body back, and I know he would have happily gave his life for his son to keep his abilities to do alchemy, because Ed is probably the brightest young alchemic mind possibly in the world, unless you count alchemy, in which case Mei Chang is really, really good as well. But I feel like those are similar but different processes. So he's clearly very, very talented, and I mean, unless there are other kids out there doing human transmutation before they hit puberty, right? That would be a scary world. But yeah, it's a real shame that he loses his alchemy, especially since Scar just unblocked the circle that was inhibiting everybody's alchemy. So who knows what he would have been capable of now. But it was also the right call for the story and for his character. And the thing is, he was so happy to do it. He had grown to a point where he didn't need or want his alchemy anymore. Like he barely cared. And at the same time, I feel like it leaves the ending of this series very open-ended. I mean, the very name of the show is called Fullmetal Alchemist, so he's just full metal now. He's not an alchemist. It opens up a lot of possibilities for where his character can go. Leaves it very open-ended, which is a pretty good way to end a story, I would think. He's obviously not going to be a state alchemist anymore, which means he loses his funding, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he keeps his funding because he saved the world. Does he do alchemic research? Does he settle down and become a farmer back in Resembool and settle into a family life with Winry? But yeah, his speech to truth was really compelling, and it was showing the opposite of Father's path towards power, because there was nothing more important to Father than gaining power, but Ed gives up his gate to truth. He gives up his own power for something more important. So it's a stark contrast to what Father was doing. So what a well done episode revolving around the theme of grasping for and pushing away power. And actually, now that I think about it, if I was Al, it's possible I would give up my own gate of truth to get Ed's back, given just how talented Ed is. I mean, Ed will obviously never accept it, and I'm actually not entirely sure how much better Ed is at alchemy anymore, because the big difference at the start of the show was that Ed could use alchemy just by clapping his hands, but Al eventually learned to do that too. He's had experience using a Philosopher's Stone, which they promised not to do to bring their bodies back, but he did have to do it to save more lives in the future. And I mean, if Al didn't fight his way out from fighting with Pride and Kimberly, he would have never made it here, and Ed would have died. So yeah, he did in a sense help save the world as well. I'm glad it wasn't just like a straight up fist fight that ended everything. I'm glad that there was a lot of emotion involved, a lot of twists and turns. So yeah, I'm thinking too much about the future now for what Ed is going to do. I think right now I just want to see everybody relax and celebrate Al getting his body back, get him some goddamn pie. I wish it could have been the very first thing he ate after coming back, but the boy is malnourished as heck, and Winry is back in Resembool, so we need to get him some food stat. And Ed, we see him give Mrs. Bradley little baby Beam Salim. I mean, what the heck was with that? How do you explain that to her? This little bean is your baby now, and what does he grow up into? Does he still have some sort of power within him, or maybe he has similar powers but is an actual kid, like an actual human being? I don't know. Hohenheim ends his life in front of Trisha's grave, and I feel sad for him. He finally found joy and love, and he barely had enough, like after hundreds of years, he barely had enough time with Trisha, barely had enough time with his sons. It's a heartbreaking life he's lived, and he gets to die next to his wife, which he gets to die knowing his sons are safe and sound and have a real shot at happiness, but he also spent so long feeling cursed. And now that he wants to keep on living, now that he probably wants to see what kind of men his sons grow up into, he has no life force left. He left everything out there against Father. So yeah, this episode was fantastic. I'm giving it a 10, even though it's not what I thought it would be. Sad that Greed is gone, sad that Hohenheim's gone. The only thing that survives Hohenheim are his sons. The only thing that survives Greed are the connections he made with his friends. Just really well done. I don't know what I want to see for the last episode. I definitely wish there were more. I want to see what happens to everybody in the future. I want to see happy endings for everyone. But yeah, we'll see how this all works out. Thanks for watching, guys. This was a heck of an episode. Again, we'll have bloopers and OVAs afterwards, after we get through 64, episode 64, the series finale. So stick around for that. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, full reactions, early reactions, in the link in the description below. On Patreon, also Discord if you want to come check it out, talk among us about shows I'm watching, movies I'm watching, games, etc. Food, art. We have all kinds of channels there. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.